Nestled in a secluded valley on the Wiltshire-Somerset border in southwest England, Iford Manor boasts one of Britain's most beautiful historic gardens. During my visit, I'll be in deep water with the head gardener, Troy.
Is there a snake in here?
Yeah.
What? What?
Getting artistic in the kitchen with head chef, Jack.
Look at that.
And enjoying the glorious British summer weather with William.
I'm coming back! This is crazy! When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses.
I'm here at Iford Manor today, and I'm visiting our great friends, William and Marianne. I've been to the house before, but I've never properly explored the gardens, so that is what I'm about to do. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good
So
to see
nice
you.
to see you.
Yeah.
Now, am I just about to walk under the Iford wisteria?
Well, it's certainly one of them, but it's the earliest. This is about 1820s. Wisteria only came to the UK in 1815. So this is definitely one of those very early plants, and it has an amazing scent, and it produces amazing flowers, and it's very happy on the south face of the Bath Stone.
So I'm just trying to do my maths here. So basically, this is 200 years old.
Yeah.
You know, the American in me, I need to date everything. I need to find out if it's older than my country or not. I mean, but 200 years old, incredible.
It's an awesome plant.
All right,
anyway,
I'm going to remember this moment.
let's go get you a coffee.
Okay, great. Well, you've picked a really lovely day for me to come.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me here when the sun is shining. So tell me a little bit more about why your gardens are so special.
Well, they've got a very rich history. They go back to medieval times when this was a rich factory owner's house with a factory at the other end. It was two buildings. And then it was really the Georgians who did the terraforming. So all the terraces you see behind us,
yes.
And up into the hills, those are Georgian terraces. We're talking between 1730, I suppose, and 1820, that sort of period. And the Georgians were the great builders, weren't they? They didn't think twice about just cutting in and building something new. And then it's Harold Peto who comes in 1899 down the hill over there on his bicycle. And he's looking for somewhere to settle down, looking for the perfect house. And here he finds this jewel of a little sort of smart Georgian villa at the bottom of a steeply wooded hill facing south and with a little stream, a river in front. And I think when you look out that way, you kind of sense maybe he felt he was on the north shore of Lake Como.
Absolutely.
Or maybe Lake Garda,
You're
or
right.
somewhere like that.
Yes,
You know, he was in the sort of Villa Bellagio, looking out over his beautiful glistening lakeside, but crucially setting it in England, his beloved England, because he was an Edwardian Englishman.
So he's really the creator of these gardens.
He's the augmenter.
Right, he's the augmenter.
He takes a Georgian garden and plays with it and turns it into something else. He's not a capability Brown sweeping everything away to create something new. He is somebody who augments, who builds another layer of history for another one to come on top of him. That's us. And another one on top of us. And it's that extraordinary rich sort of sandwich, I suppose you would say.
Well, I like that word.
Of course you do. But you know, that extraordinary sandwich, the filling is getting bigger. And I suppose the failure is when you're the one who puts the top on the sandwich.
Yeah.
Because you're not continuing.
You're not continuing.
You're wrapping it up.
Yep, exactly. Well, my husband wanted me to mention to you that we do have a connection. And I don't know if you're aware of this.
I'm not.
But my father-in-law, Sandwich,
Yes.
speaking of Sandwich, so the 11th Earl of Sandwich, my father-in-law's mother was Rosemary Peto.
How extraordinary.
Yeah, so her great uncle was Harold.
I've always wondered whether Harold Peto had an influence or vice versa, or knew Mapperton.
Exactly.
I've always wondered that.
Because Mapperton's Italianate gardens were created by Ethel Labouchere, and they were created over 7 years, from 1920 to 1927. So Harold Peto was still around,
He
right?
was definitely around. He died in 1933. He would have been, I would think by that stage in his career, advising.
Yes.
Rather than doing. He was in his 60s and early 70s. But I bet he went
know.
to visit. I bet he went there. These gardens are 20 years prior. So this is 1900 to 1910. The cloister, which we'll see later, is 1914.
Right.
Pretending to be 12, 15, because nothing you see in this garden is quite as it seems. Don't trust anything.
Don't
That's
trust
my
anything.
best piece
Okay,
of advice
okay.
for this garden.
The gardens at Iford may largely be the brainchild of one man, but it's William's parents, Elizabeth and John Cartwright Hignett, who have lovingly kept Harold Peto's vision alive for the past 50 years.
My mother came to Iford in 1965. She bought Iford from a nephew of Harold Peto, and she basically spent 50 years restoring Iford. I mean, she picked it up as a 25-year-old single woman.
What?
Which is kind of, in the 60s is kind of crazy.
So your mother bought Iford, age 25,
Yep.
and took over the running of it.
That's right. I mean, she was moving her family from an enormous house called Ano Park. Beautiful
Yeah,
Sir
yeah,
John
yeah, of
Soane
course.
house. Moved down here, bit of a downsizing, if you can call it that. Still, downsizing nevertheless. And so she moved in. She married my father in 1979. I think it was probably one of the best things that happened to Iford in the last 50 years, because he then poured his energies into this garden for 40 years and restored the buildings and the structures so that now we're in a position to take it on for the next 50 years.
Exactly. So you grew
in
up
better
here.
conditions.
You
Yeah,
grew
I
up
did.
here watching your parents run this.
Exactly right.
Because this is, you know, not only is this a lot to take on, of course, but the gardens. So the gardens are what people come and see. And I actually
Yes.
haven't seen them yet. So what I want to do right now is go and explore these.
Let's go have a
Maybe
look
get my
around.
hands a little bit dirty too.
Absolutely. Great.
It is a huge privilege to film at so many historic houses across the UK, just like this one, Inveraray Castle. And many of these homes are still owned by the families who have lived in them for centuries. The owners and custodians of these magnificent buildings do all they can to ensure these homes survive and thrive for current and future generations. And in this series, you can see how their passion and dedication shine through, despite the many challenges of preserving these gems of Britain's heritage. There is, however, a wonderful nonprofit organization to which hundreds of these properties belong, including Mapperton. It's called Historic Houses. And you too now have the opportunity to support this vital work preserving the living history of Britain's heritage. As a member of Historic Houses, you will be able to explore hundreds of the most beautiful historic houses, castles, and gardens across the UK, in person and online as well. You will receive invitations to exclusive, intimate online talks from the house owners themselves, as well as seminars on all sorts of exciting art, architecture, and history subjects. There is a stunning quarterly magazine sent straight to your door, and it covers lots of heritage topics, but also fun stuff too, including stories from house owners. And the Historic Houses website is packed with extra information on these houses, as well as video tours and previous seminars from experts and historians. There are also extraordinary opportunities for travel and tours, with many providing exclusive behind-the-scenes access to these glorious castles, manors, and stately homes, perfect for planning your next UK vacation. And it's not just those who live in Britain who can enjoy Historic Houses membership. It's open to everyone, wherever you live in the world. And for Historic Houses International members, there are many, many exciting benefits. Plus, if you're visiting Britain, you can use your Historic Houses membership card to visit many of the places that appear in this series for free, alongside hundreds of other wonderful houses. Furthermore, I've set up a very special code which gives you a discount on your Historic Houses yearly membership. So please see the details in the description below. Don't miss out on the chance to step into this amazing world and support the exciting future of Britain's extraordinary, privately owned historic houses.
Harold Peto called these gardens paradise, and I can see why.
I'm having a little wander, and there's just so much to see. I mean, this garden is, you know, terraced on so many different levels. And when you go from one level to the next, it completely changes.
The gardens are planted over 2.5 acres and are tended by a team of gardeners and volunteers who keep them in full bloom.
It is incredible. It's just magical, and there's so many places dotted around the gardens that you can just find a spot, sort of contemplate, because it's so peaceful, it's serene, the smells are incredible. And again, it's just an opportunity to find a spot, sit down, and just be. I'm heading up to see Troy, the head gardener. Troy is obviously an expert here at Iford. I kind of don't know where I'm going, but I'm gonna head up the path right here. Hi.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, I found you.
Yes.
I'm now in the Japanese garden, is that right?
Japanese or Oriental garden?
Or Oriental. There's so many different layers of this garden. I mean, and I don't just mean by the way that it's built up. There are so many different sort of compartments, I guess, if you like.
What I find fascinating here is you literally walk 6 yards behind you and you've traveled like 6,000 miles to Europe. That's like the Roman Appian way, and here we are in Japan.
Right, that's where I just was. So why is it that there are so many, what was it with Harold Peto? He purposely did this to create these sort of different elements throughout.
Yeah. It was a genius, I think, you know, because there's these moments, but he doesn't try to separate them. They're very much linked, but it feels still effortless. You know, it doesn't feel awkward moving from one space to the other.
No.
I don't know how he manages to achieve that, because it's one of the most difficult aspects of garden design, if you like, the transitions. But I mean, he went to all these places, so he travelled to Japan, I think in about 1895, very early on, really. He spent a few weeks there and brought back, obviously, the ideas and some of the things that he saw there.
Right, so this is kind of like a little grand tour. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what it kind of feels like when I walk around. So, Troy, tell me, how long have you been here as head gardener?
So I've been here just about 2 years as head gardener. But I mean, I've known Iford for a long time. It's the way it nestles in the landscape so beautifully was the first thing that struck me. I used to walk along the river about 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So it's lovely to be here now in the garden.
In the garden. Okay, so you probably get asked this all the time, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a favorite part of the garden?
I think it is probably here.
Good.
I think there's something different about this space. You know, it's not about the obvious.
Right.
It's about the orchestration of the greens, the dappled light, the sound of the water there, the coolness, the temperature changes dramatically, you know, just stepping into this space. So yeah, I think here is one of my favourite places.
It's got all those elements. So what can I do to help you?
Well, well today I'm cutting
you're gonna let me.
I'm cutting these irises down today. These are
Right.
a lovely Japanese water iris, but I think I'm okay continuing with that.
Okay.
What would be really useful, if you don't mind getting into the water.
I love water. I
Okay,
love doing.
well.
I mean, like, how far do you want me to go?
Well, it would be really nice to. I've got a net. We can skim off all of this kind of floating leaves, which would be lovely.
Fantastic. Well, okay. Well, did you lay these out for me?
I did.
Oh, excellent.
I thought you
my
might.
gosh. I have to have waders on. I'm so excited. So I'm going to put these on. Now,
I'll grab the net.
Great. Okay, fantastic. So
Super.
I'm just going to put these on. There we go. How do I look? All right, Troy, I'm ready. So
Those wobble, those ones.
okay, but I'm going. I am going in. I'm
stepping
going in. I'm stepping into the unknown. Okay, that's a bit. Okay, I'm stepping in. Okay. Okay, there we go. Me and water. We do like each other. Yeah, it's.
Watch the deep bit.
Where's the deep bed? Okay, okay. So I'm just all this.
Yes, please.
Okay. All this. Okay, super.
Just I have surface skim.
Surface, so a little bit higher up.
Yeah, and probably the net a bit more horizontal. So that's it. Yeah,
Like-
and just kind of drop in and then.
So it's not over the edge. I think that was my issue. Okay, that's not a very good job. Do you want me
Perfect. That's
Really? Okay, so now
and
where do
then
I put
just
it?
Sort of swivel round and flick it onto the edge.
I'm just curious, they don't have any holes in them, do they? It's feeling a bit, it's feeling a bit cold. Okay, so so it's like a pancake, right?
Yeah.
Okay, on here.
Yeah, thank you.
1, 2, 3. Okay,
And you just carry on.
and then I don't have
Yeah,
to flip it back
that's
around.
fine, no.
Okay, so I'm gonna go under here. Okay, great. Okay, so how fast do you normally do this?
Well, we like to do it every week and probably about 2 hours. So it's quite a commitment. But I think that surface, the clarity of the water, is quite important. And because we're in there, we are stirring it up, but that all settles.
That all settles, the stirrup. Okay, yeah, wow. Okay, so I'm gonna be here, Troy, for like 2 hours.
So we've got the weeds, the leaves here, but also some of that blanket weed as well, which
Okay,
Which
so I am
developed.
trying to get the leaves in, yes?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I see a dragonfly there.
Oh, so much wildlife. It's great in here. This year we've seen so many things. There's frogs, toads, newts, snakes.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. Wait, are there, no, I'm fine with frogs, I'm fine with toads, fine with newts, I swim with them. Snakes, I have an issue. Are there snakes in here?
We've seen snakes swimming in here.
Okay.
The safe ones, they're only grass snakes.
They're just grass. I didn't know grass
I think.
snakes could. You think, Troy? you're putting me into snakes. I do have a fear of snakes and cows, but they're not like gonna attack me, right?
You just might scoop one up in your net.
What? What? Shut up. Is there a snake in here? Oh my gosh. I think. Stephen, did you really see a snake? You did. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm really bad at this. Sorry, Troy.
I'm visiting Iford Manor, known for its beautiful historic gardens. I'm meeting head gardener Troy Scott Smith and lending a helping hand in the Japanese garden.
Troy.
Hello again.
So what are you planting here?
These are wonderful little plant. Look at that. It's called Roscoa. It's a Japanese plant.
Oh.
Roscoa auriculata. Lovely open purple trumpets. So we're just going to put these around here. So
Fantastic. And do you do these every year?
they're perennial. No, they
they're
last over time.
Oh,
yeah.
they'll last. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So-
yeah, just a case of digging that hole where you are.
Okay.
That'd be great.
My mother-in-law has this brilliant line that she says, people come to visit a house once, but they
yes,
come to visit the gardens
yes.
4 times a year through the seasons.
yeah.
And do you feel that as well here?
Yeah. I mean, Iford's, I think, is a bit special because it doesn't necessarily rely on the horticulture.
Right.
So, it's the setting. So in winter's beautiful, and I really like the the play of light in winter, on the structure, on the soft bath stone we have here. And then in spring and summer, of course, you know, you get all the loveliness from the blossom. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you love winter, and then as spring arrives, you love spring, and then summer, and
it's true.
you love summer.
This is the draw. People come to Iford for the gardens. And you as head gardener, why do you think that is?
It has got something unique, I think. But I think it is that sense of arrival. When you arrive, it's unexpected. You come down these steep-sided valleys. It's nestled in the valley floor, the river, fast-flowing river running just by its doorstep. And I think all that adds to that somehow the drama. And then you come into the garden and this very unexpected sense of the Tuscan hillside, the Italian garden, the Oriental garden, all nestled in this vernacular. And
Yeah.
it is something about that which I think is the special sense of Iford.
Later, I'll be heading over to the kitchen to help prepare afternoon tea. But first, I need to pick some rather special flowers, which apparently are tasty too.
Well, we've got, you know, lots of flowers here, particularly this part of Iford. But what we've got over here is actually some pots, which are probably perfect for you. They've
Okay,
got
fantastic.
Violets and all sorts of things in. So let me show you those.
Yeah, because I want to make sure, obviously, I think we're going to top them onto some cakes.
Well,
So-
these would be fun, wouldn't they?
Yeah, beautiful, and the colors.
These are a little violet called
These are
tricolour.
little okay, so here's the thing. When I just need to pick it from the top. Is that right?
Well, I think probably for
Yeah.
eating you would, but for the garden, if you can pinch it right down.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you. So
And then you can just take the top. I don't suppose you want to eat the stalk, but yeah. So, and actually, these you can eat as well.
what?
These daylilies, you can eat them.
You're kidding
Whether
me.
you'd be brave enough, but you can eat them seriously. So
Have you eaten them before?
No.
Okay.
But you can. I wouldn't joke about such
Okay.
a serious thing, really. So, yeah, these or the buds would be lovely.
You can eat the buds.
Shall we try now?
I think we should try one right now.
Shall we? It seems a shame
Okay,
to,
this is it.
take the flower. There we go.
Okay, it is a shame to take the flower. Okay,
Shall
yeah.
we just go for it?
Look, all right, on the count of three.
Yeah, go on.
1, 2,
Three.
3.
Actually, okay.
Actually, really nice.
Actually, not bad.
It tastes like something.
I really didn't know what to expect.
These are really nice. There's.
I'll do that again.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Oh my goodness.
So you can help yourself to all of those.
I'm gonna basically. You're gonna come back tomorrow, and all of these are gonna be gone.
I'll leave you to it then.
Okay, great. Thanks, Troy,
That's okay.
so much.
See you again.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that was delicious. I might have to have another one. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, I'll pick like this really small one here so it goes unnoticed. It's actually really delicious. I have to get that. If there's a flavor that's coming through and I can't quite get it, it'll come to me later. Right now, I've got to pick. So see, that's why I asked that question to Troy. Like, so I knew that obviously edible flowers, it's just the flower. But see, from a gardener's point of view, he was like, no, you've got to pick it from, you know, the stem all the way down so that you don't ruin the plant. Right, I think this will be enough for the kitchen. Also, just remember that you need to be with somebody who knows about what flowering plants are edible. So I trusted Troy, he's a head gardener, he's an expert, and he knows what's edible. Definitely don't just pick up a flower and eat it. Know for sure if it's edible.
After a glorious morning in the garden, this happened. Traditional British summer weather made a dramatic appearance. And so it rained. And rained.
Okay, Okay, are we?
Are we going to go for it?
Are we gonna go? No. Are you really?
Oh, come on.
You're gonna give
Come
me
on,
a
it
tour of the
dries
garden
off when
in
you get
this?
home. It dries
What?
off when you get home. Come on, go.
I'm coming back. This is crazy. Get back. Get back.
You'll never. Oh my god. Okay, so that was a good garden tour. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Oh my goodness.
Armed with William's meteorological optimism, as well as umbrellas, we set off.
Okay, right. Now, in the context of English weather, this is not raining.
Okay, but
Okay.
it is raining.
It is not raining.
William, it's raining.
Imagine, it is not raining. Imagine the azure sky that Mr. Pito saw when he arrived at Iford.
It is.
It is not raining. Come on, you've got a brolly.
Wait, so
Let's go.
I'm not gonna. You don't want me to put this up?
I'm not wearing.
Okay. All right. All right. Oh my goodness.
Wellington boots are all you need. And you oh, here's Busy. Look, has she got an umbrella?
No.
She has no umbrella.
She doesn't.
Lovely Georgian terraces, upgraded by Harold Pito. So they were Georgian because they needed a garden for recreation.
Right.
Invite the rector around, get your friends around, you know, the rest of it. And they wanted to show off the valley.
And they wanted to show.
But then.
because they're all about showing off.
But
the
you're
Georgians.
right, absolutely. So then here is this lovely conservatory terrace where they are integrating the conservatory of the house with the
Yes.
garden. Very much
Yes.
a grand tour idea.
Look at Busy right here.
Yeah, she's-
So she is happily.
Well, it's
sort
her
of
garden,
just-
right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
her garden.
So
right?
all these little terraces constricting our space, giving us a shooting glance, and then up to the main garden above, through this set of steps. And then at the top, you come through this arch,
Yes.
and you see this a cathedral of space above, this amazing plane tree. I mean, look up there, isn't that spectacular?
Yeah, that-
1779 that was planted to commemorate
Our independence, nearly.
the birth of Thomas Gaisford. But nevertheless,
It's close, 1776.
perfectly reasonable
I'll take
guess.
it. Yeah.
Thomas Gaisford ended up as a dean of Christ Church, Oxford. He lived here. He was a great Greek scholar, the Regius Professor at 31, bright cookie. And he lived here. He wrote his sermons on the Great Terrace. He was a great one for the Grand Tour. So he brought cypresses in here, even as early as the Georgian period. This was known for its cypress walks. And then as we round this wonderful corner, we sort of, you can't really see where you're going. And then you arrive at this representation of effectively a Tuscan hillside. So here, if you look up, you've got this wonderful tree form of juniper, the cypresses, you've got rosemaries, old rosemaries with their woody stems, really redolent of trips to the Mediterranean. And the thing about this garden is that it is essentially a series of memories, but they're not Mr. Pito's memories, although they were. They're actually your memories, they're my memories. They're things which trigger a memory in us. And we go, oh, that's a bit like when I went to insert holiday that you had when you were 9 or whatever. And that's the point of these fragments of masonry. And then if you look at this end, to this little patio, which is, I think, redolent of those Cordoban and Sevillian patios. You know, when you see down a corridor and there's a pool of light at the end.
Yes.
There's sort of the coolness of that central patio in a house amid the chaos of the city. And this is that cool, safe, quiet space.
Yes, it is.
Planted up with lush foliage, scented plants. Can you smell that?
I absolutely. Well, what am I smelling here? Am I smelling Tuscany?
You're smelling, I suppose, the south of Spain, Tuscany, sages, you've got geraniums, you've got all of those lovely scented plants, and crucially, the sound of water, which leads you on. You hear it before you see it. It draws you through a garden, and that's the genius of Pito, to place water in places that makes you want to find out where it came from.
Where it came from.
I love his little fern too.
Wonderful. The fern is fantastic.
It's like a
too.
hairstyle.
Yeah, it is. It is. A little bit Medusa.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
love
It's
that.
better when it's earlier, it's just coming out. Yeah. So essentially, Pito is creating a garden, an international garden, but he's not doing it in the sense that here's the French bit, here's the Italian Renaissance bit, here's the Roman bit. Here he's intermingling everything. If you drew a Venn diagram of all of the world's cultures, all of the kind of the bits that they all thought were beautiful, this is the intersection of that beauty.
How wonderful.
And then you come into this little pool with a little garden, perhaps Pompeian, the sort of thing you see at the back of a house in Pompeii.
Absolutely. Yes.
A little bit of water, kick the kids out, go and play Ludo or whatever they played, abacus at the back of their house in Pompeii.
And so this is, and now I'm just seeing, I mean, we've only been through just a fraction of the garden, but there is water everywhere.
Yeah, Absolutely. It's a crucial element of the garden because it really creates life in a garden
Yes.
space, doesn't it? That sound of water is constant, it's always there, it's ever moving, it creates a sense of energy. And as we look up, there's this little quirk here which I rather like. Pito hated asymmetry. He took the false wing off the manor because he didn't, because the Georgians had, of course, had to have a symmetrical house, and Pito hated symmetry, so he takes the wing off. But here he has 15 of these beautiful terracotta tiles, and he places them 5, 6 and 4. I don't know a single designer who would ever do that. It shouldn't work, and yet it does. And what it does is it creates an ability for him to create an asymmetrical space beneath. You wouldn't know it, but the walls aren't square, nothing lines up, because nothing ever lines up at Iford. It's all a bit of a fudge. That's the key. And this is his magnificent terrace.
This is incredible. This is the wow moment right
It kind
here.
of is.
This is
It kind
wow.
of is. This is what I think he wanted you to just
Oh
stop
my
and take
goodness. This is just magical.
So this is a representation of the Appian Way coming out of Pompeii on its way out, with the cart tracks and all of that, passing monuments and sarcophaguses and orchi and
I mean,
and
I'm
pots
actually
and that.
forgetting that I'm in England
Right.
right now. I honestly
right.
am. That's literally what I was thinking.
Okay, so then you've got lovely English roses up the columns, which
Yeah.
gives the sort of whimsy. You've got Romulus and Remus, which is the last copy taken from the Capitoline. So that's very much the influence of Rome right at the heart of the garden. But then look out through the colonnades and you get this incredible setting of the landscape. And it is the borrowed landscape, shake. He learnt this in Japan when he was there in 1898.
Shake, what does that mean?
Shake is the borrowed landscape. It is setting your garden in the context of its surroundings. So it's the opposite of what Roman theory does, which is build a forum and a safe space and everyone looks in.
Yes.
The Japanese are building something to look out.
To look
Much more
out.
of an outward-looking gardening style. And as a result, you're constantly with this balance of the foreground and the space that you're in. It's like a basilica, isn't it, with a
Yeah,
half
no,
round at the end.
absolutely it is.
And then the outward view, and there's another out to the countryside.
Fantastic.
So everything is always in balance. And the internationalism is the other key here, which is that he wasn't going out in a sort of 18th century British Empire way and saying, we really ought to be more British. You should be more British, you'll appreciate it, you'll love it. He wasn't doing that. He was going out to see what everyone else could teach him. This was a magpie for ideas. He wanted to learn. He went to Japan for 10 weeks to learn ikebana, to learn flower arranging,
Right.
to learn about the placement of objects, to learn about shake. All of these amazing concepts were completely alien to
to
the
learn
West.
and then bring them back
And
here.
then to use for his clients.
Right. Incredible.
The love and respect which William and his family have for Harold Pito's vision here is so inspiring. And clear to see as we arrive at the Japanese garden, where thankfully the water has settled after my wading efforts.
Originally, Pito wanted a Japanese garden here.
So this is not Pito.
Not fully, no. I mean, originally he'd built his shelter.
Right.
Do step up onto here, there's a lovely view.
Okay.
He built his shelter, he'd bought his pagoda and his lanterns.
Yeah.
And he had found, with his workmen, the rather wonderful rock at the far side, which is, of
Yes.
course, representative of
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji.
Fantastic.
There you are. So it's that representation of the really important things that the Japanese hold dear to them. And Mount Fuji's revered.
Yeah, of course.
And so he'd created that. And then sadly 1933 arrived and that was the end of Mr. Pito's tenure on Earth. So he moved on. And in 1984, my father, 1984, yes, okay, quite often the wrong century appears, I appreciate that. In 1984, my father decided to finish the job, as he puts it. So this is truly a John Hignett garden. And I'm really proud of what he's achieved here. We're still working on it.
Oh my
It's 40
goodness.
years in. There are views being created. It's one of the things about Japanese
wonderful.
gardens is that they take 3 generations to mature at least.
Right.
You want all of this moss. You see, it's all
Yeah.
self-sown and
It's
you don't
beautiful,
plant it, it
but-
just occurs.
Interestingly enough, here in this Japanese garden, I am spotting 2 native orchids.
Pyramidal orchids, absolutely. Self-sown, like so many things in this garden. The box is very much where it falls, it lies. And then you manage it from there. And of course it's on a rock, which is, 10 tons of rock,
Yeah.
which was taken across on rollers in the Roman fashion, pulled by a digger by my father from some yards
So your
away,
father
some
put the
100
stone
yards
here?
away. Yes, he placed that there. So that is his
Oh
island,
my
and then the
goodness.
whole of the idea of this garden is really based around that sort of Chinese cosmological idea of the north and south, east and the west. These stones, you see the scales
Yeah,
of the
yeah, of
dragon here?
course.
These two are the dragons coming down to drink and to steal the pearls which are under the temple. And so it's all the stories are in there, woven
Stunning.
in, but in
But
a subtle way.
Okay, it's just stunning and beautiful, but I have to say, it's something about those two orchids there. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking right now. Those are your parents, because they're English, right
bless.
there.
Well,
Do you-
there
here
they are,
they
right at the
Here you
heart,
are.
the Englishness at
That's
the heart
right.
of the Japanese.
The Japanese
Isn't that lovely?
garden, and there are
Yeah.
your parents who really took this on.
And still do, of course.
Yeah,
My father's
of
still
course.
driving his digger.
Exactly.
As his retirement project, as it was his profession. As a professional amateur
Yeah.
gardener, as he calls
It's
himself.
wonderful.
You know, it is lovely. And he's still here every evening, moving the rocks
Yeah.
around, sorting things out, sort of working out which moss to leave
Yeah.
and the rest of it. Of course, the thing about this garden is it's so different to everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
it's
no,
cooler,
it's-
it's damper,
yeah,
it's
it
a different
definitely is.
climate. And I
Yeah.
think it's more peaceful in many ways.
It's very peaceful.
I'm spending the day visiting the stunning Grade 1 listed gardens at Iford Manor in southwest England. The gardens have developed over the past 100 years from the vision of Harold Peto, who lived here in the early 20th century. And in 2016, our dear friends William and Marianne were handed the reins to lead Iford into the future.
One of the gifts that I think my mother gave us was, and bear in mind, she took over Iford 50 years prior, was to say, essentially, to leave a spinning chair in the office. She sort of pretty much just went. And she said to me, I remember very vividly, she said to me, I know I'm going to hate a number of things that you do, but do it anyway, because you need a run at it. You need to go at it just as I did. And I think that was an amazing gift, because it meant that Marianne and I could really start to make the changes that we felt were necessary.
Iford has been welcoming visitors since 1910, when Harold Peto was in the midst of transforming the Georgian gardens into a glorious celebration of all the places he had visited. And now, with the completion of one of William and Marianne's first projects, visitors can enjoy the wonderful food in the new restaurant and cafe, which is run by amazing head chef Jack Brewer.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look, a little posy of pansies.
Yeah, because
How
I
marvellous.
hear we're making sort of cakes and maybe some tea sandwiches, but I thought we could put some edible flowers on them.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Is that enough?
No. But we can, I've bought some in as well, so we can make, we'll use these, I promise you.
I've never made a proper afternoon tea before.
Have you not? Okay, well, here we go.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's go through and I'll,
Wash hands?
yeah, let's do that.
Okay. There we go. I mean, we all know how to wash our hands really well now.
This is where your station's going to be.
Oh, great.
And we're making a little nod to the Japanese garden, the Peto garden. So there's some yuzu in here, which is a lovely tropical juice. So I've mixed up some yuzu and cucumber and cider vinegar, and then chive butter.
Oh my goodness.
And then we've got spread on here on very plain white bread, the cheapest bread you can buy. It's true, they make the best sandwiches, they really do. Then you're folding this over, and then we're going to cut them beautifully. So we're going to be cutting just into 3 samples like this, and then we're putting onto the plate here. Okay?
Right, okay.
That's your brief.
That's my brief.
You're making
okay.
one sandwich.
This is like
feeling.
quite an extravagant
Beautiful, aren't they?
tea sandwich here. I can't wait to taste it. I'm gonna just tell William and Marianne that I made the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding.
No. And then we'll dress them with edible flowers.
So I'm gonna fold it
you'll
over.
Fold it over, and then you're cutting off the
Okay.
don't know whether our parents
Okay.
would be very happy with us doing this, cutting off the
Okay.
crusts. They're meant to be good for
So
you.
all the crusts.
All the crust, really neatly.
And
The whole thing about afternoon tea, in my opinion, is it's really precision. It's beautiful, beautiful food.
Jack, I don't know if you know this, but the family that I married into actually invented the sandwich.
Did they?
Yeah. Yeah. So
they'll be so proud of you today.
Well, here's the thing. You'd think that I would know how to make tea sandwiches.
Yeah.
But the sandwich that the 4th Earl was, invented and it was named after him was actually, in one sense, roast beef between 2 pieces of bread, and it became the sandwich, the lunchtime sandwich that we all know. Not this.
No, this is something completely different.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's such a treat to go out for afternoon tea.
Every American, I'm certain, that has visited, Britain has come here to have their afternoon tea. We just don't have the same wonderful, tradition.
Top cutting
Was
there.
that-
Yeah, wonderful. Now turn it round again.
Okay.
Super.
Yeah.
And then cut it into 3, so you've got equal sizes.
Okay, equal sizes.
I mean, I have known chefs to measure.
Oh
their
my
sandwiches.
goodness.
I know. It's that much of an art.
Okay.
Skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
lovely.
right? What do you think?
That's good. We'll go with that. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So if you just kind of turn them up on their side so that they fill, so that you can actually see the filling.
Okay, this one I have to just do quick.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. Okay. So turn them up like this.
That's super.
Oh my goodness.
See
I
how
didn't
beautiful
know
that looks?
Yep. I'm going to turn
And then
this
you're just going to drape the tendrils, the little pea shoot tendrils, over.
Oh my gosh. It's beautiful. Okay, I'm just making sure it's covered.
Yeah, that's top
Okay.
work. Absolutely wonderful.
Well,
Well done.
So this one's okay. Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
Well done. Beautiful.
Like this.
Yes, well done.
Oh
Top
my
work.
gosh. Well, I'm learning from the best. So that is
Thank
true.
you. Right, now we're going to decorate some cakes.
Okay,
This
let's
is
go
exciting.
with my
This is the-
with my edible flowers.
With your edible flowers. Let's do it. So here we are in the bakery now, and this is a chance to go crazy. I've made a clementine and almond syrup cake with its. So before it was ganached, I made like a drizzle for it.
Right.
Lemon and orange and sugar.
Okay.
Which, when the cake came out of the oven, I just washed it over, kept washing it over so it filtrated into the cake. So it's like, it makes it not heavy, it's a very light cake, but it makes it so delicious and moist.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you this question because obviously I'm not a baker, I'm not a chef, but ganached.
Great word, isn't it? I know.
What does ganache mean?
Ganache means, so you melt chocolate, dark cacao, and butter together. Then you add some honey and cognac in there. Cheeky. And then it gives it the most beautiful glaze, which is really lovely.
Goodness.
That's a ganache.
So it's been ganached.
Ganache? This has been ganache all ready for you, Julie.
It's brilliant. It's my new favourite word.
If we move to the flowers, so we have your lovely bunch, and this is where you knock yourself out.
These are beautiful.
They're gorgeous, aren't they? So we've got another little surprise, which we're going to be using, the pink palette, which I was talking to you about. How wonderful!
Yes.
How wonderful you match.
Thank
Great,
you.
isn't it?
You knew.
And then the orange is going to go beautifully with the cake here. So I think it's over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to pick...
You want to get a little bit of kind of height in there and...
and facing out?
Exactly. That looks amazing. I've got some little nasturtium flowers, leaves that you could actually pop on if you wanted to.
So would you put it on top? Do you see how I've just put it on top there?
Yeah,
or no?
I would. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's too big.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Okay. Like that.
I think that's stunning.
Really?
I think you've done a fantastic
Okay,
job.
well, thank you. All right, what's up next?
An angel cake.
my
is
goodness.
just the lightest thing you'll ever eat. In the middle of the cake,
Yes.
you've got raspberries and blueberries. So when you cut into it, they tumble out, or they should do.
Oh my goodness.
That's the plan.
I'm sure growing up in America,
Yes.
angel cake,
Yeah,
right?
it's the thing. It's an American. That's why I did it. It's
Oh
an
my
American.
gosh.
It's an American recipe.
I'm sure America, we'd have angel cakes, so you did it
Yeah.
on behalf of
I did.
the token American.
Yeah,
it's
and it's
lovely.
a showstopper. It
I
really
mean,
is a showstopper.
Beautiful.
So, in a nod to what you're wearing, which I didn't actually know, and the raspberries, etc., knock yourself out with the.
I'm going to go pink vibes,
yeah,
right?
I
So-
definitely think pink is the way here.
Okay, and just sort of like,
You put it anywhere you like. I mean, it's not quite nice to have a sort of a bit of a sweet dress, just dress the cake.
okay, but
basically.
avoid the raspberries. Look, I really need like
No,
guidance
you can,
here.
I mean, there are raspberries inside, so if you want to take them off, I just put them on there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna kind of like go like that, maybe. I don't know. Fix
Beautiful.
it, Jack. You need to fix what I'm doing here.
there we
Look
are.
at that. I feel like this leaf.
Yeah, it might. Yes. See, what you can also do. What I just pick off the petals. Seems a bit of an ouch moment, but they look really pretty, just drizzling over the top. I mean, beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's such a lovely colour anyway.
It is beautiful.
Could not have planned your outfit better as well.
I know.
So darn
I somehow
impressed with that.
knew. Look at this.
There you go.
Okay, there.
You see, I think
Now,
that's a work of art.
I do too.
The cloister, built in 1914 in the early medieval Romanesque style, is a Grade II listed building. Being here, you feel like you're stepping back in time to the sun-drenched hills of Tuscany.
It's a building which represents a number of things, but essentially, as we came in, there was this inscription, "The Haunt of Ancient Peace." It's from a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson, The Palace of Art. It's well worth a read. It's all about creating a space that's very sacred to you personally, and this is this sacred space for Harold Peto. He creates it and places in it his objects that he treasures the most, that mean the most to him, and also it creates a sense of peacefulness. Ancient peace, interesting set of words.
It is interesting.
Ancient peace is this idea that it's been here longer than we have, that we are just newcomers, that this is the standard status here is peacefulness. We're the kind of aggressor into that, we're trampling on that potentially. So beware, traveller, that you need to respect the awesome ancient peace that exists. And this is that space.
Just a couple of years after William and Marianne took on Iford, they were faced with an unbelievably daunting problem. This spectacular building was in grave danger of disappearing into dust.
One problem we had in this building is that, as with all these buildings that Peto put up, he didn't put a foundation under it. So we have a 100mm, 4-inch foundation on pounded Fuller's earth. Fuller's earth is a really expandable clay. So in the dry weather, we didn't have rain here for 6 months in 2018, so it collapsed the clay layer and the building was nearly lost.
Oh my goodness.
So it was quite a challenge. We took out everything from this all the way round to the far corner over there, and it was quite a job. Yeah, pretty much. So everything below the arches. And it was pinned with steels to hold the roof up. Everything was taken away, numbered, stone by stone. And then we dug down by hand, no machinery in here, of course, you can't get in.
No, of course.
And took out the Fuller's earth, replaced it with a concrete foundation, built it back, numbered stones, replaced the columns in their right orientation, resized, etc.
Oh my goodness.
And then, of course, we took the scaffold away, and that was the terrifying moment. The engineer just came and did it on a Sunday evening without anyone knowing, actually. And hopefully, that gives it a sense of continuity for the future, which is, of course, the sustainable approach that we're all trying to come up with for our heritage.
Absolutely, but I know that you also won the Historic Houses Restoration Award.
We did. It was very generous of them to give it to us.
In 2020, because how long did this take? This
was an 8-month project, and we finished in March of 20, but of course the judges couldn't visit during COVID. So that award was made this year, and it was very generous of them to give it to us. I'm sure the other projects were magnificent, but I think this was so technical, so challenging for people to understand how to deal with a fully arched structure. There's no lintels in this building at all. It's entirely arches. So if you move something, everything else moves. And that was the great challenge. So I think the engineers should really get the credit for this. The workmen, the craftsmen, they always give the prize to the wrong people, don't they? The guy just commissions the work. But ultimately, this is about the amazing work of the people who built it.
Absolutely, and definitely well-deserved. I mean, absolutely, because you're right, it is that technical. It's not like anything's changed as far as the restoration, but we also have to remember that restoration doesn't just mean, stripping things back, revealing something else. It means making sure that this stays standing for future generations.
Absolutely, and that is the whole point of creating the restaurant, the cafe that you've seen when you were with Jack, of creating all of those spaces to create some sort of revenue that will enable the garden to survive long into the future. These places shouldn't be parasites of a community or the people who live in them. They should be living and breathing engaged with their community, and that's what we seek to do over the next 10, 20, 30 years, so that Horatio, hopefully, or his brother or sister or whatever, can want to inherit this and
Yes.
see it as a real positive benefit to their lives.
Yeah.
It seems like such a silly thing to say when you live in such a beautiful place. But actually, you can wake up in the morning, you know this, you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, which tree's fallen over today?
Yeah, or which leak.
Right, which leak am I going to deal with today? Actually, it's about creating an environment where there is the funds available, where there are the funds available to fix the leaks, to sort the trees out, to make it sustainable for the long-term future. That's really the point of conservation heritage. Now, of course, you round the corner, and then suddenly you have this view to the valley beneath. And I think this is the reserved secret, right for the end of the visit, that Harold Peto wants you to see. Do you see the weir on the river?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the source, I think, of that ancient peace, that sense that this has been continuously flowing. It's never quiet in the Iford Valley.
No.
You always hear this white noise. And white noise attenuates other things in the distance. It makes things calmer. You know, you put white noise to get your kids to sleep.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely.
So it's all of that, and it's that sense of positive energy of the movement of water, and I think that's at the heart of what the ancient peace is.
Absolutely. Wonderful. How spectacular.
And now it's time for tea.
I 100% agree. Let's go.
I'm certain Harold Peto would be overjoyed that his gardens have been revived and nurtured by the Cartwright Hignets, and soon a new baby will join William's family to enjoy growing up in this magical place.
We've got the whole family here. Very exciting. And I'm sure your bump is going to want some cake.
Oh, I would think sugar
Tea?
is always popular at
Right.
bumps, isn't it?
I cannot believe this spread. But I do love egg mayonnaise, which I would say the American way, I'm afraid, is egg salad. Yeah, we say egg salad.
I cannot resist the chocolate and the edible flowers, so I am going to dive straight into that.
The whole point of an angel cake is that it should tumble forth upon entry. Is it worth finding a knife? Okay.
And I feel Julie should do it.
I feel so. She dressed it so beautifully.
Gosh, I'm very nervous.
Right.
All right, Jack, I'm gonna make a dent.
Number one.
Oh my goodness.
I hope I've done justice to American.
Oh my, you're right. What's inside? It's so like, I'm just gonna make sure I get my nice little corner here. Fantastic.
Let's get that on a plate. Wow, look at that.
Look at that. Oh, and there's some cascading berries. You're right, where the center hole was. So I'm just gonna sneak these on.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Isn't that fun? Wow, I've never seen an angel cake before.
Have you had an angel cake?
No. I've never seen
I
one.
grew
I've
up
never
with an
beheld one in my vision.
This
That is so exciting.
fantastic.
Should we do it?
Yeah,
Go
no,
on.
we should.
Do you want the icy end or the fruity
I'll take
end?
the icy end.
There you go.
The icy end. Okay.
Dive in. Go on.
Are we?
Yeah, we're totally doing that.
Okay.
Let's
Cheers.
do it.
Well,
Cheers.
Thank you to everybody for such a wonderful time here
It's
at
been a pleasure.
Iford.
Great to
all
see
of
you.
you for really spending your time with me, but also just for me to be able to experience, you know, what ancient peace really means.
Well, cheers to
Cheers
that.
to that. Perfect Horatio.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? It's light.
Who knew Americans make cakes?
You now know. The most brilliant day out here at Iford Manor and Gardens. I mean, it's more than I could have ever expected. So I've come here really to visit the gardens and of course meet this one too, so sweet, and to visit the gardens, but I learned so much more, not just about how special these gardens were, but really what they meant to Harold Peto, who of course designed them and really put such incredible thought into making sure that the synergies around the world were brought together. But of course, with Jack learning how to make the perfect tea sandwiches and Troy guiding me in the Japanese garden. So it's just been a wonderful, incredible day out. The architecture, the landscape, but of course, the ancient peace.